Hello again. Great to see you. We're already on habit 4 in the happiness cycle. Prime like an athlete. Get in flow every day. I was at a barbecue recently and a wasp arrived on the scene. One of the guests leapt up, flapping his arms and screaming. My son, who has a bee sting allergy, saw the wasp and just continued his conversation. Same wasp, 2 totally different life experiences. It's a trivial example, but the fact is your entire experience of life is not the actual events. It's the signals, the thoughts, the images, the feelings that events trigger in your brain and how you react to those signals. And then, of course, it's how other people respond to your reaction. And so your life experience builds momentum upwards or downwards. Anais Nin puts it beautifully. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. If you want to be happy, if you want to be really successful, if you want to live your best life, it all starts with you. Because you and only you create your own life experience. People often need to sit with this idea for a while. The instinctive reaction is, it's not only down to you. Life throws a lot of unexpected shit at you. Sometimes you just have sheer bad luck. That is true, but how that translates into your life experience is down to you. You gotta focus on the bit you can control, and that is your mindset. You'll find the more you practice a winning mindset, the luckier you get. Now, this would be okay if you're totally happy with the way your brain works, but most of us aren't entirely happy. And it's maybe not surprising. My apologies to the neuroscientist amongst you for this gross simplification, but you can think of your brain in terms of 2 bits of hardware. The limbic system, refined in mammals between 200 million and 2 million years ago, it focuses on self-preservation, highly emotional, instinctive reactions, mainly to protect you, like fight or flight, neither of which is a great response to most situations today, by the way. And the neocortex, the cognitive human brain, developed more recently over the last 2 to 3 million years. Then you're born and you go through a massive process, much like machine learning, to write your software, the data being your life experiences. They reckon that most of your brain's physical structure is in place by the age of 5, and by 25, it's pretty much complete, unless you consciously do something about it. So, utterly amazing as our brains are, we're all running hardware designed millions of years ago for a very different set of circumstances, and software version 5 years old with a couple of upgrades. Call it version 5.2. Now, you can't do much about the hardware, at least not yet, but you can continually upgrade your software. For me, in my late 50s, running software version 5.2 is like still using my first mobile phone, the Motorola 6800, instead of my iPhone. To have the life experience you want, you need to upgrade your software at least as often as you upgrade your phone. If you don't, you're living version 5.2, and in a very real way, your future is determined by your past. I got this half right for half of my life. I'd like to get it 100% right for the rest of my life. I had my first big revelation in managing my brain at the age of 25 when I read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He introduced the notion of taking responsibility. Responsibility. The ability to choose your response to events, your response to the mental signals triggered in your brain. This was hugely powerful and served me very well for 25 years. But it falls way short of your true potential. This is consciously managing your 5-year-old brain. It's reacting or resisting your version 5.2 impulses. It's not upgrading the software. My second big revelation happened at 50 when I discovered priming. Huge thanks to Tony Robbins. As the name suggests, it aims to set you up to be your best and give your best to the day ahead, in the way athletes get in flow mentally before big events. Nearly 10 years working on my daily prime plus the 4 habits gave me the 15-minute prime. It's a combination of meditation and visualization that gets you in flow every day. I'll talk about visualization in the next session on habit 4, but the foundation of priming and the first half of your routine is meditation. Have you ever tried meditation and found it intriguing, but ended up wondering what the hell you're getting out of it? Me too. It's strange. I haven't found anywhere a great explanation of what meditation is. Being totally present, clearing your mind, but with real intention. What intention? For me, the essence of meditation is sitting in that quiet space between stimulus and response, between the bombardment of stimuli coming in and the frenzy of activity going out, calmly observing all the signals being sent by your brain, noting them, embracing them, and letting them go, and returning to a state of total clarity and focus. Think about your mental state like sitting under a blue sky, with your thoughts as clouds passing by, sometimes white, fluffy and flying high, sometimes low, menacing clouds making your mind small and defensive. As you embrace the thought clouds and let them go, they disappear and you're left sitting under the blue sky. This is your mind in its natural, expansive, creative state. So what, you may ask? Well, if you practice living in that quiet space between stimulus and response, you can make amazing things happen. This is where you take control. This is where the 4 habits, or anything else you decide you want, come into being. The first half of your prime focuses on 4 foundations to live your best life. First, taking responsibility, choosing your response, but it's not react or resist, it's embrace and respond. Embracing unwanted thoughts rather than resisting them diminishes their potency. I had a great example of this recently on my yacht. And to be clear, when I say yacht, I'm not talking about one of these, I'm talking about this. A pleasure boat dragged anchor and crashed into us, causing a fair amount of damage. If that wasn't bad enough, the captain made off, refusing to share contact information. A typical reaction in that situation would be to completely lose it. My reaction 10 years ago, responsibility, would be to react in a measured way, but I'd be effing and blinding about the incident for the next few days for sure. My reaction recently was just to embrace the emotions, deal with the situation firmly but calmly, and then just let it go and get back to having fun. It may not sound like much, but if you're doing that in some small way several times a day, the cumulative impact is big. My son was really surprised. Respect, Dad. I can't believe we were just having fun again 10 minutes later. If priming is setting a great example for your kids, that is definitely big. It isn't an overstatement to say that the consciousness of responsibility is literally what distinguishes humankind from animal. The second way your prime empowers you is it enables you to look at and observe yourself, which leads to deeper self-awareness, a deeper connection with the authentic you. It helps you understand your character, your feelings, your meaning, your desires, your fears. And with that consciousness comes the ability to improve or even modify them to serve you better. And you get better at understanding the same for other people. Again, this is not a nice to have in life. What's the single most important attribute for a business leader? I once asked a leadership guru. Self-awareness was the answer. I nodded in thoughtful agreement, then had to Google exactly what it meant during the next toilet break. To my relief, I probably had a reasonable dose of it. I'm guessing, because I'm definitely not one, a relationship guru would probably say self-awareness is a foundation for healthy relationships too. Third, you get better at focusing on what you want to focus on. Whatever you're doing, you can give it your best. Priming gives me the ability to clear my mind completely, to choose with clarity the most important thing right now, and then to be relaxed enough to focus on it and just let all the other shit go. The other shit literally ceases to exist until such time as it becomes the most important thing. And in doing that, you release yourself from the reductive, defensive state that the head of Disney Creative described to me, and replace it with the more expansive and creative state. The more you can access that blue sky mindset, the more you can come up with the creative ideas and see the big picture. 30 years ago, I think my peers would probably have described me as great at getting things done. Now I'm often also one of the more creative people in the room. I owe that in the first place to my amazing business partner, deepest thanks, Steve, and latterly to priming. Fourth thing, your prime reminds you to be totally present and connected with whoever you're with, to give them your best and to receive their best in return. Remember, 100% of what you give to others and you get in return happens in the present. And it's only with connection that you can communicate your meaning and your mindset of contribution that brings ever greater returns. As you can see, the first two of these are foundations for your mission. Live why not when, habit 1. The second two are foundations for habit 2, be the journey, be here and now. And all of them lay the groundwork for you to catalyze contribution. In contrast to a more generic meditation, the power of your 15-minute prime is that your prime reinforces the habits, and the habits give real intention to the prime. Now, starting your day simply conscious that you want to be that way would be helpful. But if you get in flow each day, you're not just doing it for 15 minutes in the morning, you're actually training your brain to default into that mindset more and more often during the other 23 hours and 45 minutes. It's just like the multiplier you get from physical exercise, only even bigger. Ultimately, your brain's neuroplasticity creates new neural pathways that replace your version 5.2 default wiring, and you live in flow with the 4 habits all of the time. You're not just the way I am. What you're doing is training your brain in small steps to be more the way you want to be, so that your life experience is more the way you want it to be. This is literally the difference between doing life and life doing you. I was pretty good on the vision thing. I've lived an increasingly conscious life. I've experimented with meditation in various forms, but I didn't prime at all until 10 years ago. I found that to get in flow in this way is a total game changer. It's the difference between doing what you aspire to do and being who you aspire to be. So, prime like an athlete before a big event, because your big event is your life. Now, my time's up. Did you notice? That's the only session where I'll talk for 15 minutes, exactly the length of your morning prime. So I'll leave you with this summary now. And let's do it. Let's dive straight into your 15-minute prime, part 1. And remember, I live this, all of it, imperfectly. But imperfectly is still a game changer, and I'm on the journey, and that is the exciting thing.